Hey y'all, this is AL Think Madame, and this is a What a Day post. So, just in case you have never seen any of my What a Day posts, it's basically where I'm discussing things that have happened to me or, something that's been going on, particularly that day at work or wherever I was at, whether I was actually at work or just off and something popped off. But anyway, let me get into it and tell y'all what happened today. First of all, I got to work with my partner, who is the side heifer's cousin, right? And we always have a good day. Like, we always do well and we work well together. Well, when we came in, the people who were on the shift prior to us that were working over there in our department, they left us. They left us looking crazy. When I tell y'all, they left us, we just... When I tell y'all, it's just, I'm trying to find the word. We were just looking, we were like looking like stranded. We were looking crazy. Like, we really were left looking crazy, because I thought that I was the only one feeling this way. But turns out most of the time when I'm thinking that I'm only feeling this type of way, my partner is feeling the exact same way. Or if something is happening, I'll say something and he was about to say it. Or he'll say something and I was about to say it. Or I'm doing something, he was about to do it for me, and vice versa. Like, we just be on one accord, and I just be like, come through, Lord, because the side heifer don't understand teamwork. Like, I just don't be understanding. But anyway, I don't know if I could really lay back like I want to. Let me see. I feel like I can, but I don't know. I don't trust myself. Anyway, y'all, it's like I want to lay back, but I gotta make sure that's covered hard. Make sure that's covered hard. So anyway, y'all, pick this up. Okay, so excuse me, I still got all this going on. Hopefully, it'll be what it need to be in due time, because it's going through, and the way work has been going, it's just going how it's going, y'all. We came into a mess, and they really thought that they did what they were supposed to do, and they be leaving us looking crazy. And it's crazy because we always set up the shift that's after us, and I'm not understanding why they don't do what they're supposed to do. So anyway, I'm trying to figure out how to tell y'all without telling y'all per se. Anyway, so came in, and I had specifically, when I was in the meeting, I asked them, is there anything I need to know? Because sometimes unexpected things happen, or there are things that are planned that are happening. So I want to know, especially if it's planned. So there was something that was going to happen, and I had already asked, and they said, well, I don't know. Let me get a schedule and find out, because they didn't bring the schedule. Somebody's supposed to go get the schedule and bring it to us so that we know, if something is happening, if there's going to be any type of a change. And so I was like, okay, so I'll be doggone. We over here waiting, because we don't know, like, if we don't know what's going on, then we don't know what we need to order and write down and all of this, because we need certain things throughout the day. So my partner, whenever I'm with him, 99% of the time, he does the order. He orders what we need, or what it is projected that we're going to need. So, that means that I'm acting as the same type of person that I would be if he were on break. So whatever need to be done, he doesn't have to focus on his side. I focus on his side and my side, and it is what it is, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. But I kept noticing he was looking like weird and kind of looking like, okay, I'm confused. I don't understand what's going on. So I picked up on that, and I was right. And he was like, I just don't even know what to order, because, like, look at this. And then they moved this over here. Like, they moved stuff, and stuff was in the way, in places it wasn't supposed to be. And it was just stuff that they are supposed to move out of our way before they leave for the day. They don't move it. They create stupid stuff and put stuff in places they ain't supposed to be. I just be like, what in the... Tell me why while we were waiting on them to provide us with the schedule, he ended up finding their schedule. He was like, look at this. I said, what? Looked at it. On the side that I was running, something was supposed to change over to something else. So now we do know, okay, yeah, because had he not found that, he would have just been like, well, hopefully everything is going to stay the same, and we would have been looking crazy. Well, they had that whole area loaded down with the wrong stuff, and had they actually looked at their schedule and were actually abiding by that schedule, they would have known, let me set up this area so that when it's time for them to do what they need to do, they good. Because that's the way we do. We normally get a schedule for us, and we get one that's projected to be whatever's going to be, you know, happening on their shift. And if something is going to change, we set them up. They set me up for failure. To make a long story short about how all that went down, because I can't tell y'all the specifics of what I was doing. Y'all, I had to get all that stuff. I had to load all that stuff up. They had so much stuff of the wrong stuff over there. I had to gather all that stuff. People who weren't even in my department came over from across the way, which was in the side heifer department. The side heifer wasn't there. They was helping me move stuff. They was helping me put stuff up. They was moving the stuff for me. Had went and got the stuff that I actually needed, that I needed to transfer over and all. Man, teamwork. And it's crazy because, and I got it done. And despite what I wanted the time frame to be, I wanted it to be done within a certain amount of time. When I'm doing certain things, I want stuff to be done in a timely manner. And I want it to be up to my standard, right? So I ended up getting it done way later than I wanted to have it completed by. But there were supervisors who were listening in on the conversations that we had, because they told us, oh, well, this is ready to do this. We're ready for this to get changed. So we were like, okay, you know, we responded, and we were like 10-4 or whatever. Copy that, whatever you want to say. And I ended up letting them know ahead of time, like, it might take me a couple of minutes because the prior shift had a schedule and they didn't set us up and whatever. So they were like, oh, okay. Whoever it was that had gotten over the radio and responded to me, they said, okay, we understand. We're just going to address that in the meeting that we're having, because they have several meetings. It's just going to be whatever time you decide to go on whatever day. I'm going on Monday because I refuse to come in on Wednesday. And then I can't go any of the other times. That is the only time that works for me, is 15 minutes after I get off work. Hopefully they won't try to draft me to stay over. I should be good, but I still don't trust them. So I'm going to that meeting. So he was like, oh, well, you know, I think he's going to one of them before Monday. So he was like, well, we're going to address that in the meeting, because that's not the way it's supposed to be. You're supposed to set up the people who are behind you. You have a whole schedule, so you should know what's going on. Y'all, because I have to, like, calm myself. And I love the fact that when I work with the side heifer's cousin, like, he has this calming effect on him. Like, if I'm having a slight moment like that, where I'm just like, I'm overwhelmed because the Mostyn popped off and they screwing us over and whatever, he is, you know, cool. He cool about it. He has a calm, cool demeanor about all of that. And the same thing can happen for him. And usually I just set it off and do what I'm supposed to do and still handle my area and all that. Like, we bounce off of each other. And it's just a great, pairing. So got that squared away. And like I said, little did I know, there were supervisors who had listened in on it and they took heed. And they had already told me in the meeting that they were going to come up there and give me a schedule. And so coincidentally, the supervisor who came up there, her name is the same as the side heifer, right? So she talking to me and she was like, y'all had great communication earlier, and y'all got that done in a timely manner. And I told her that I didn't feel like it was. And I explained to her again what happened, even though she heard it over the radio, and she was like, that is unacceptable, because they should have already had that. And she basically agreed with everything I told her, like the way it was supposed to be set up and all that. Like, nobody is perfect, because I've had moments where I realized at the last minute, like, oh my gosh, this is what was happening. And so much was going on over here that I forgot. Usually I'm aware that it is something that is going to happen, but I don't want to leave somebody and they looking crazy and got to figure out what they need to do. I don't like that. I don't like to leave people in a weird position. I don't want them to have to struggle and do all of that because so much is going on. I don't like that. So, excuse me, y'all. I got this arrow and it is on Antarctica. And it's making me want to go to sleep because I'm not tired from work despite all the foolishness that I had to endure today. But anyway, so everything, you know, turned out for the best, but we still talking. So I asked her, you know, well, what's the projected time that this, that, and the other is supposed to happen, whatever, because we were told that certain things were supposed to happen and stuff changes. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. So then we started talking. Tell me why this woman said out of her own mouth. She was like, y'all had great teamwork. And she was like, unlike some people. And I was just like, I wasn't gonna say nothing. When I tell y'all, I don't be saying nothing. I'll be minding my business and people be setting it off. This woman proceeded to say that when we were in that meeting that we went to the other week, that she said it took everything in her being not to say something when the side heifer was sitting up there acting like she was all about teamwork. And I said, you don't understand. I can't believe, because she was like, I've had to work with her before because she wasn't always a supervisor. She's worked her way up the ranks. And so she used to do the same job that the married man who's getting divorced does, which is a very well-respected job or whatever, right? So she was like, yeah, when I used to do that job, there were times that she would come in early and I would come in early, and, you know, because I wanted to just get a couple of hours in or whatever. And she would be the person who was supposed to send me stuff. And once I would find out, because I'd be like, well, who is the person that's supposed to be up there? She would find out it's the side heifer. And she'd be like, oh. And she already knew she was going to be in for a terrible day. And I'm like, no. Like, y'all, this woman, before she became supervisor, every single time I used to see this woman, she would always speak to me. She would always be nice. Like, she has a pleasant demeanor. And, you know, she pretty much is like no nonsense and all of that. But it's like, as long as you do what you're supposed to do, you ain't got to hear nothing sideways, or she ain't got to, like, get booked or whatever. Like, she ain't got to really get in there and, like, get at you about nothing. And I don't understand why people don't understand that. It's really not that. It's that simple. Do what you're supposed to do and you ain't got to worry about nothing. So we had a great conversation, and she was like, oh, trust me, I know exactly what you're talking about, because she is not about teamwork. And I really was, I was like this, looking at this woman like, oh my gosh. She was like, yeah, it took everything in me not to say something at the meeting, because she really set up in that meeting like she's all about teamwork and like she really be doing something. I said, and I ain't know if I was going to get away with it. I ain't know if she was going to look at me sideways. I ain't know if she going to be like, all right, now, you didn't overstep by saying this. But I told her, I said, well, I'm going to say it. Let me see what she say. I said, well, her own supervisor said that she's a great worker. And she looked at me like, who? Like, who? I said, look, I'm just telling you what was told to me. This man said she's a great worker, but she's a mess. She's not a great worker. She's really not. She's trash. A lot is going on, y'all. They have made it so they are finding easier ways to get people up out of there. This might be the way that the side heifer is going to be escorted out this door. So they say that it's mandatory for us to be present on time for our meetings. And they say they've been having an eye on people, right? I noticed that the side heifer, I ain't been seeing her at her meeting. She be out there in her truck and in the married man face and everywhere but in her meeting. And I'm like, and I asked the supervisor, I said, y'all have somebody watching like everybody? And she was like, yeah. I was like, for real, everybody? And she was like, yeah. So I was like, oh. Like, this one supervisor was happy. She was just like, this has just been so good. They've literally already fired 2 people. Because I guess they were like low on high on occurrences anyway. So I think you get a half an occurrence every time you're late or you don't show up to the meeting. And I'm like, my partner, he got there extremely late, which means he got a half an occurrence today. And so he told me he had an excuse for it. So he said he wasn't really worried about, he ended up getting fired or something like that. But I'm like, you better make sure you get here. Shoot, I need to make sure I get here. But they told us it's very important. You have to be there. It's mandatory, whatever. But it's to the point now that they are using it to their advantage. Like, we firing y'all. You gonna rack up these occurrences because you ain't at the meeting, and we gonna fire y'all. And they have been implementing it already. This might be the way that side heifer get out the door. This might be the way. It's sad, but this might be the way that she is gone. This might be the only way that we can get her up out of there. So I'm just gonna sit back and see what happened as far as that is concerned. Y'all, I just could not believe that supervisor was just like, oh, I know how she operate, and I couldn't believe she was sitting up in that meeting line like that and acting like she all about teamwork when she's not. Y'all, I was done. I was done. And her cousin was all the way on the other side. So he didn't know what we was talking about. He just kept looking down there, but he don't know what was going on. I just told him everything but that part about his cousin. But I was like, oh my gosh, wait a minute. My mind is blown. But yeah, she said, oh, I know she be the one up here stirring the pot. Everything I was saying to her, she already knew it. Or she was already saying it before I could say it. I was like, this is crazy. This is crazy. They already know how she is. And it's like they act as if their hands are tied. And my thing is this. If this is the common denominator and you want people to be there, why won't y'all get rid of her? Like, why don't y'all do what y'all need to do? Go through the proper channels and do what you need to do to get them up out of there. Because she straight up told me, this particular one straight up told me, I know that she's the common denominator. I know that she's the problem. And people like her are the reason why people don't want to stay. I said, that is all I'm trying to say. And I told her, I said, do you know that there's a guy who came in who we had been training? And most of the time, they would stick him with her. And she would politely leave for 45 minutes or more at a time. Was barely over there training him. He would be drowning, not knowing what to do. And then they had him over there with me a couple of times. And I was teaching him what to do or whatever, because he was like, just tell me what I'm supposed to do. I'm here to learn. It was easy to teach him. He caught on fast. He did what he was supposed to do, even though I don't want to train these folks. Because I don't want y'all to sit up there and be like, oh, well, why did the people not leave? Why did the people leave? Or why aren't they doing this particular thing the way they should? And all that, because they love trying to blame you for everything. So in my mind, I'm like, I'm glad y'all ain't got nobody named by my name talking about training them on the schedule. Keep on blaming everybody else, because you ain't finna blame me. So he came over there. He was fine with me. I ain't had no issues with that man. It wasn't nothing going on over there to where I need to be like, oh, they need to not have these people over here. Like, I didn't have no issues with him. Like, he kept up everything, all of that. Like, he did extremely well when he was with me. But then he'll go back over there with that heifer, drowning. Didn't know what was going on, didn't know what to do. And I'm just like, this is ridiculous. And like I told y'all before, that man was so tired in his spirit one day, they put him over there in the most hated department with this heifer, and she wasn't there. That man went on his lunch break halfway through the shift and never returned. That man was a good worker, though. He was a good worker. And that's why y'all can't keep good people. Because of people like her. Y'all keeping trash around. And then she's stirring the pot and creating drama. And it's like, y'all know what she doing. Y'all legit know what she does. Y'all know what she's doing, but y'all keep her around. It doesn't make sense, y'all. So, anyway, my partner and I, we were very taken aback all day. When I tell y'all, I have never felt so clueless and green and weird. And I felt so many different range of emotions because of that, because of the state in which we were left. That department shouldn't have been like that when we came up in there. Like, I thought I was just feeling like that. He felt the exact same way. He had this look on his face of he looked so confused. I thought it was just me. I was like, dang, I mean, I know he been here longer than me, but I really thought it was me. I thought it was just me. They left us out to dry. We were struggling, and the person came to get the paperwork, and like, he couldn't even explain to him what was going on. And I had to tell him, I was like, look, I need you to work with us tonight. We going through, like, it's like we walking through and we keep discovering a new issue. And I'm just like, what is going on? What y'all be doing on y'all shift? Like, y'all, when I tell y'all, my head instantly started hurting. I was like, man, we got to do work before we actually start doing our work. Like, we got to pick up the slack that y'all left behind and some more, because y'all ain't doing what y'all supposed to do before y'all leave. Like, it was just too much. So anyway, we got through that. We actually had an amazing day. We talked a whole lot. Like, after we had gotten all that stuff squared away, we ended up talking a whole lot about work and about just random stuff in life. And like I told y'all before, like, when the side heifer ain't there, amazing conversations, no drama, no issues, no interruptions because you mad and jealous because somebody talking to me. Like, it was a great day. I had a great day. It started off real rough. Ooh, Lord, y'all, before I even got there, tell me why I was almost to work. And I had to cut somebody off. First of all, because they were going too slow. So I had gotten in the passing lane anyway. So I cut them off. And it's like they sped up as they saw me put on my turn signal and start to move over into that lane. Then they gonna honk their horn. How you gonna honk your horn at me? You were going too slow. So I went around you. Then you decided to speed up once you saw I was getting over and had turned my turn signal on. Y'all, this person rolled my bumper all the way to my parking spot at work. I'm talking about on the street, turn down the street that lead to work. On the street that lead to work, then turned into the parking lot. I'm talking about on my bumper. I was like, dang, am I going to be able to get here and back into my parking space? Y'all, and then they sat in their car for a minute, and I was like, man, I know you're not trying to sit up here so you can try to confront me because I cut you off, and you decided that you wanted to almost cause an accident by riding. Y'all, when I tell y'all, they rolled my bumper so hard. They rolled my bumper so hard, I couldn't even see their headlights. That's how close they were up on my car. It's a miracle that there was no accident. They did the most. I understand that you're mad that you got cut off, but you were going slow. You can't blame me because you were going slow. Then you were like, oh no, you don't get in front of me, and start to speed up after the fact. Like, they almost hit me. Y'all, but anyway, today was a day. I had a great day, but it still was a day. Then people wonder why I want to do the bare minimum, and that's it. I just want to come in and do my job and go home. I don't want nothing else. I don't want to talk to y'all. No, I'm not volunteering to do nothing. Leave me alone. Anyway, y'all, have a good day. I might be back on here later on. Bye.